Here we go. We're live. Good evening, viewers. I always want to say that like Les Dawson. Good evening, viewers. How are you this evening? And welcome to the usual Tuesday Night Live. And I have an amazing guest with me tonight. I always get really excited when I have guests with me, overly excited actually. But I've got some really great content for you tonight. So I hope you watch. And if you're watching live, please let me know and say hello, #live. I might not see your comments till the end. If you're watching on replay, let me know also. Let me know where you're watching from so that I can respond to you. I always get people watching from places I've lived because I've lived so many places. So I give it about a minute of chitter chatter and then I introduce myself because that gives people time to drop on. And if you don't drop on, it doesn't matter. I like talking anyway, so I will just continue to do that. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Mandy Nicholson. And I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I am an artist. I am an author, and I help creative women to launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. And I have with me tonight Rebecca Thompson from the 𝐘𝐸𝐿 company. And we are going to be talking to you tonight about intentionality in business. So I'm going to kick off by saying we don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. And Anise Nin quoted that. That is not my quote. You were born with so much power. And the truth is that every living thing on the planet was born to be a success because each living thing has within itself the innate ability to be successful. Like birds are born with the innate ability to fly. They don't actually have to go to flight school and learn how to do it. They just know how to do it. And you were born being fully enough, capable of creating your dreams and experiencing a life filled with success. You were born with an imagination. And I have written all this down and I've got this on a handout. So if you want it tonight, please say, Mandy, I'd really like a copy of that because I've got a couple of pages here that I've prepared for tonight because it's important when we're talking about intentionality in business to really help you to understand what that means. So you were born with an imagination. Nobody taught you how to imagine. It gives you the ability to think intentionally by directing your thoughts. It's called visualization. You were born with feelings. Nobody taught you how to feel. It is your own inbuilt GPS system. And it gives you the ability to know at any moment if the thoughts you are thinking are in alignment with what you want or not. You were born with the ability to act. And I don't mean on stage, I mean to take action, to act. You have the power to create your reality by visualizing clearly what you want, focusing on it intentionally, bringing out all those lovely, juicy details and knowing why you want it and for what bigger purpose until it lives inside you as a new vibrational, emotional set point. That's where intentionality lives. Then you can act in alignment by doing what you know you would do if you were going to succeed. Behaving with absolute conviction. That's intentionality. In other words, your imagination, your feelings, and your actions are what give you the ability to create your reality and live with intentionality. So that's what we want to talk to you tonight about. And Rebecca has done that so well through COVID by building a business from absolutely nothing. And I wanted to talk to you about that tonight because I think it's an amazing journey. And what brought this about was a couple of weeks ago, as I lost my beloved Labrador Jet, which was very painful. Out of pain comes a lot of creativity. And I created a mini program and a 21-day journal, and then decided I'd share that with the world and help other women to take intentional action to get themselves published with a low content book, which is a journal, planner, or notebook on Amazon. And Rebecca did that intentionally as well. So that's enough from me for now. I'm going to hand you over to Rebecca. Rebecca, tell everybody about your business and what you did and how it came about.
So in April 2020, a lot of things were happening in the world and within my family, and we came to love our walks, and I think everybody did, and really started to value them. So it was an intention to take those walks. It was almost like I was a child and it said, you can't go out for a walk until and only for this amount of time if you do. And I always go, well, I'm going for that walk because I can. And so that became an intention every day. And we have 5 beaches within walking distance because of where we are geographically placed in 𝐘𝐸𝐿 in Northumberland. Now, a lot of people have maybe a couple of beaches, but we've got 5 because we're on like a corner. And one of the beaches which we hadn't really explored, we sort of descended around a very little cliff compared to the ones I've been on since. And we sat on a boulder and just looked out to sea, and we're living in gratitude of this space and this calm and everything around us. And my husband was scrabbling around in the pebbles like you do when you're a child. Sometimes you just go on a little bit of a hunt, and he came up with these coloured pieces of glass, and they were really tiny pieces. And I said to him, what's that? And he went, it's glass. And I said, what's that? And he went, it's sea glass. And I went, well, yeah, right, but what's sea glass? And he says, well, go look it up. And I went, what? Here we go, I have to go and do things myself again, and he just can't tell me. So I came home and I looked it up on YouTube, that great platform that we look things up on, and on the internet. And I found this whole new world, and my curiosity was definitely piqued. And as I've said many times, my inner child danced into the room, but into a dark room, and lit it up. And I was suddenly curious, and my curiosity grew, and I discovered that sea glass was a thing. And it wasn't just a thing in the Northeast, although it is very much so in the Northeast. It is in the UK and around the world. And I found that I really was curious about what I could do with it, because the following day I said, come go out again, come go out again. So for 10 days we went out sea glass hunting in all the beaches around us, and came back and we filled 3 big flower vases full. And I said, right, I'm a declutter coach, and I discourage you hoarding. You can have collections, but I could imagine these collections were going to take over the house as long as we were in lockdown. So let's see what we can do with it. And my husband said, you are a creative. He said those words. Go and look it up and see what you can do with it. And I saw that you could buy these pliers and you could make jewelry. And I was like, wow. So I went in the drawer and bought some. Well, I didn't buy some. I went in the drawer, found some really rubbish pliers, to be honest, compared to what I use now, and some wire, and had a little go. And I thought, okay, then this looks all right. So, but it's harder than it looks. Maybe if I have another go, and a bit like learning the piano or any instrument or any form of anything, if you do it every day, I might get better. So within a couple of weeks, I'd shared some jewelry that I'd made on Facebook, and somebody asked to buy it, and I thought, oh, that's a pity purchase. But no, they really loved it, and their words were, if you're this good now, we won't be able to afford you in a couple of years. And I was like, yeah, okay then. So just sort of took it tongue in cheek, and carried on, and was really just really secretly, I suppose, chuffed to bits that somebody liked it enough to buy it. Didn't know what to charge. I wasn't bringing anything to the table apart from my own creative personality. I wasn't bringing years of experience of working with jewelry, never done it in my life. So it was difficult, but within another couple of weeks, somebody else wanted some, and somebody else wanted some, and I thought, oh, this might have legs. So we looked up. I always buy, when I have an idea, I'm terrible for this, when I have an idea, I buy the domain straight away, because I just want to secure it, and I go and set up all the Facebook and the Twitter and the social media, so I know I've got that name before I launch it. So I knew that it was called the Sea Glass Company, because I wanted it to say what it was. And then within 8 weeks it went around the world. And then apart from wiring, because I've got osteoarthritis and I can't wire all the time, it's a bit like asking me to play the guitar all day. I just couldn't do it. So what I did was I looked at other things, other ways of using the sea glass. So I went into resin and jesmonite, and I was like a little magpie, shiny new things, and just started going on this very big creative journey and sharing that. And then I went into fluid art, and then I went into one wire art, and I was just all over the place in a way, but it was good because it gave me a rest from the wiring, and also developed more wiring skills. So the intention wasn't there when I went on the walk, but as soon as I looked at what you could do with it, the intention was there. And I thought, right, let's do this. Probably, and a little bit was screaming at me, you know, how are you going to do this? And probably the worst time that the country's seen in your lifetime, in my lifetime, completely new thing. Nobody knew, you know, it's never really happened before in my lifetime. So why are you doing something completely new? And then I thought, why not? Why not? Because here I am, like everybody else, looking at how I can go online. But here I am with an opportunity to do something.
So what I said at the start there, your imagination kicked in when you say your child danced into the dark room, and then your feelings, you could feel it in your gut. You knew it had legs.
Yeah.
And then it was about you taking action. So all of those things that I mentioned at the start, you've actually done in that really short period of time at the start of the lockdown, haven't you?
Yeah. It was a really hard time because I don't, you know, I don't mind saying so. It's quite, you know, it's on my social media. Is my granddaughter was extremely ill life-threateningly ill at the time, and she'd just had a pacemaker fitted at 12 weeks old, and there was a lot of stuff going on with everybody. I think that in one boat, but in, you know, all different boats in the same storm was a perfect analogy. And I had my own little boat with a lot of, you know, things going on within the family, and my husband had lost all his projected business, so we're both self-employed, so it was quite a stressful time. So this business came, Sea Glass found me at the right time, and it's been the most amazing journey. I have to say, I would say the most creative journey in my life. 50 years to find it, but the right time to have found it. I think that was really important. Let's talk about timing, and we talk about something grabbing hold of you. And I've always thought, what's that like? I've had things that I've been passionate about, but it's been short term before the next thing and the next thing. But nothing's ever really stayed with me until this time. And now I'm looking at origins of glass, history of glass, how glass came to be made, how it ended up in the sea, what, you know, all of the, you know, the elements in sand, what makes the colours, and what have people done to develop the skills within glass making, and where was the first sheet glass made, and how did we get windows and stained glass? And it's just gone so a bit. I'm a very detailed person when I get into it, but it's stuck with me. And my poor husband just hears sea glass every single day.
But that's triggered the creativity in you, hasn't it? So at this point then, I want to bring in, because we face obstacles, don't we? A lot of us can experience this sort of pull and this idea and this, you know, seeing the potential in something. This is where intentionality in business is so important. But one of the biggest obstacles that people face is that we never challenge our world view. And that means we're quite limited in our beliefs. So if you asked a fish, how's the water? The fish would probably reply, what's water? Because it doesn't challenge its surroundings, its worldview, its environment, where we are made up of that very thing. And that holds us back. You said you didn't get into this until you were 50, and it's taken you all that time. Probably because your worldview has never been challenged and you've never thought you could. That's a lot of us. I understand that because I was there as well. We rarely challenge our environment or our existing beliefs and the conditioning that we were raised in, most of us. And this is because we were born into this existence with everything just as it was, perpetuated by people, by conversations, by the media, the belief systems that we were born into. that our parents brought to our world, that their parents brought to their world. Yeah. So the beliefs and misconceptions of those around us become our reality. And the rights and the wrongs in life and so many different areas, they all exist because they existed in their world and they are transferred. It's like an unwanted hand-me-down in life, that you are born into this belief system and this environment. And you can end up feeling like you've got to please everybody and become so many different people to survive, playing roles to fit in. And these become your belief system. To live your potential and act intentionally, you must learn to be an independent thinker. So your beliefs are not fixed. You can change them anytime. And just because you believed it doesn't mean it's true. And it's taken you and me till 50 something to go, hang on a minute, here's something I can do. Because we are so conditioned, aren't we? The beliefs that, you need a proper job, and the beliefs that you'll never make money from your creative pursuits, the beliefs that your parents say you should go down an academic route, and the school says the same, and the politicians say the same. The beliefs are layered on us. There's so many layers of them. And we don't challenge. We live in that environment and we don't really challenge it. And your 𝐘𝐸 journey is actually you challenging that.
I wish I was at my desk, because I've got a framed saying on my desk which says, be who you want to be, not who people want you to be. Just be yourself. And and again, it's taken, I think that having the 𝐘𝐸 company has allowed me to express my true self, that has sat there since I was a child, that has popped up now and again. I can't say it's never popped up. I did my O-level without doing the 2 years of, so I knew that I was creative. I knew that I was born into this world we've all got gifts, lots and lots of gifts. And I knew that one of them was probably art and creativity. And I think it's always been there, but it's allowing it to be revealed, I suppose, and taking a chance, because art is so subjective. You're probably putting, it's not like 2 + 2 is 4, and it's not like that at all. So in some ways, there is no right or wrong within art. There's just discussion, and it's subjective, so that what some people might not like what I do, and that's all right. But when you have a fear of criticism because you've maybe been criticized for even thinking about doing creative or artistic things in a business world as opposed to a hobby, then you're probably a bit more sensitive to that, and you always want to get it right, and that somebody's going to be happy with what you've done, because it isn't like maths. So therefore you're putting yourself in quite a vulnerable position in some ways. But if you have that belief that what you do and you've done your very best, then if you know that, then you can take it if somebody isn't happy with it. In a way, it's easier to take on board, because you can say, well, I have done my best, and I have done, I'm not saying that this is, I'm touching wood here, I'm not saying this has happened to me, but all I'm thinking is that if somebody isn't happy, then I will try and put it right. But if I've done everything I can and they're still not happy, then I wouldn't sell it. I just would say, okay, I'm sorry, we haven't reached that point. I haven't had that yet, but there may, the law of averages says that that may happen at some point where somebody isn't happy. So it's quite a vulnerable position. But I think because of the support and the encouragement and the love that I've received, that's helped me on my journey.
And that helps you to step out of your constraints of the belief systems and the environment, and be able to believe in what you're doing. And once you've got that, so this is what holds most people back from the intentionality in business, this belief system that's layered upon them by external influences. So I've got a little exercise and I want to practice on you as a bit of a guinea pig, if that's all right, Rebecca.
Okay.
All right. And I've got these questions if anybody wants them, but it's just a little exercise to try and get you to think about, who are you? So if I ask you the question, who are you? What would your answer to that be?
I'm Rebecca. That would be my immediate answer.
Well, that's good. And Rebecca's good, because that's all you need to know. That's all I'm going to say. So if I was to say, are you the worldview that you were born into?
I would say yes, because if I was born into it, but then things have changed since then. If I'm taking it as a literal, you know, I obviously am the person that I was born into, but things have happened that have changed that.
So think about the fish.
Mm-hmm.
What's water? What
Yeah.
is the worldview? So are you the worldview that you were born into? And possibly not, because you've changed.
Yeah. I'm not
You've done,
now. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
done what you have probably wouldn't have done 20 years ago.
No, I definitely wouldn't have done it 20
Because you've
years.
worked on some of those beliefs. The fact that you teach means there's still some beliefs in there. There's still some layers. So that's good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, because it's about recognizing. So are you your perception of reality?
This is deep.
It is quite deep, isn't it? And you should be able to answer no, but that's only when you've worked on your belief systems.
Yeah.
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 So are you the roles you have played?
Yeah.
So if you stopped playing those roles and you started playing another role, would you still be you?
No.
You wouldn't be you.
Because I'll have a new, I suppose we're always change. I believe that we change every day.
So are you the roles that you've played?
Historically, yes, but I'm going to be a different person tomorrow.
Yeah. So no, you're not the roles that you've played. They were just roles that you've played. And you can change them, and you can play different roles. So it is quite deep, this, because I want you to really think about, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Are you your personal history?
I have to say yes to that, but I'm only saying it up until this. I suppose I take things quite literally when I get these questions. So if am I my history, then it's constant. I'm constantly evolving every minute. So let's just say no then.
Yeah, because if you no longer had the same perception of your history and you understood it differently,
Mm-hmm.
would you still be you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So are you your personal history?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we've got to get to in order to be intentional. So are you a label or an identity?
No.
Good. So if you were no longer a businesswoman, mother, wife, would you still be you? Yes, you would. So you are not an identity or a label. Are you what others have told you that you were?
Sometimes.
Mm?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Depends, because there are triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will default sometimes to that learned behavior. Yeah.
That's where we go back to our environment, the learned behaviors, the beliefs. So these questions actually identify whether there's still some work to do to get
Mm-hmm.
you to who you are, so that you can really truly be intentional. So are you what you have?
Have or own.
Have, meaning if you lost everything, would you still be you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have lost everything twice.
Yeah. So are you what you have?
No.
No. Are you your attitude?
I was thinking about ownership here.
Mm-hmm. Meaning if you shifted your attitude and took a new one, would you still be you?
Yes.
You would. So no, you're not your attitude.
No.
So are you the behaviors you do? Meaning if you took new behaviors, would you still be you?
No.
So you're not the behaviors that you choose to do. You are still you. Are you the beliefs that you have about yourself?
It's a yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And are you the thoughts you think? Meaning that if you shift your thoughts and you have different thoughts,
No.
it'll be you. So no, you're not the thoughts you think. Are you the emotions you feel?
That's
Meaning if you shift your emotions, would you still be you?
no.
Mm.
Everything that I suppose everything that you're saying is that if you shift it, no, I would no longer be. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Are you your emotions? Are you the emotions you feel? No.
No.
So who are you?
On me.
None of the above. You are just you. And it's when, yeah, consider that so much of who you think you have been has been nothing but an attachment to an illusion created by parents, siblings, society, everybody else, school systems. And yet every decision we've made has been coming from who you think you are. And inside you, there's a force powered by absolutely nothing other than you. Nothing can take away the power to succeed because it's not attached to your worldview. When you detach all of those beliefs, and that is when you can be intentional. I know this is quite deep. I did say I'll be bringing a lot tonight. This is when you can bring true intentionality to your business, because when you bring intentionality, you decide to do something. You have the vision, you have the feeling it's right, which is what you've done, and you take action. And nothing will stop you, because as human beings, we will always choose the laziest path of least resistance. And if there's a choice of doing something and not doing it, we'll choose not to do it. That's the human behavior thing. So you could have this great inspired idea and not do it, because it's easier to not do it than it is to do it. And intentionality in business is doing it anyway, and doing it wholeheartedly, with passion, with intent, with vision, with emotion, and all of those things that you've done in your business. And that's when I dropped this little mini program in a couple of weeks ago and said, from inspired idea to published author. That was an intentional title for a little mini program that said, if you want to go from having an idea to being an author, you can do it in a day. And I actually said that out loud, and you listened and you did it, didn't you? Well, you didn't do it in a day, but you did it in a couple of days.
Yeah, but that was down to me because I've got 2 years of experience or knowledge within this world. And I was going, I have 23,000 photographs on my phone, and I was finding all of the photographs that I wanted to use within this journal. So that's why it took so long.
But you literally, I said, you can do this in a day. And you said, Mandy's saying you can do this in a day. I'm going to have a go at this. And you did it with pure intentionality.
Yeah.
And you're not the only one.
No.
There's somebody else has done it now and done the same thing. And I think this is about me saying, actually, if you want to be intentional in your business, you need to have the inspired idea and you need to take action. So how did it feel for you to do that, to make that decision and do it?
It was exciting because I knew that, I think I already knew that it was there, and your live triggered that moment. So, and also I know you as a teacher, as a tutor, would give me the value that I needed and the instruction that I needed. And if I got stuck, I knew that you would be there and answer any questions. So that all of those, that combination of things, and also the fact that I knew that I had something to give, and that by doing this, it could lead to something else. And it has. I'm already halfway through the second one, which is the children's one, which I've been working on today. And I'm also, I would say, I've brought forward another intention, which I've always intended to do, was write about this journey, because there are a lot of people who haven't heard this journey, and there's a lot more to this journey that I'm able to say in the minutes that we have, that have really been the most wonderful. You probably need tissues, because they've been the most wonderful moments of generosity and community and people. So this journal is just the beginning of something. And I always remember somebody said to me, you're an artist as soon as you put pen to paper or paintbrush to paper. You're a writer as soon as you put a word on a piece of paper or a sentence. And so there's nothing stopping me being an author as soon as I put that book. And so now I'm going to be a published author, because in that journal is written dialogue, you know, and so that's a nice thing. And it's a legacy, because it's there for my grandchildren who love what I do, and they know all their colours, and they'll be able to have a children. And they said, can they have a signed copy? Can they have a dedicated copy? They're already on the synopsis of being in the forward of a book, you know. They're just so it's also inspiring for me from a family point of view to be able to say, well, Grandma wrote this, you know, and you've been part of that journey with me.
And that's inspired action opens doors. Inspired action brings people to you. Inspired action shows people who you are. It shows the world who you are. Because when you are prepared to say, I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do it, you inspire other people that are watching you. Don't even know they're watching you.
I know.
What you've done is open doors, and you've opened a door, haven't you, with this journal?
Yes, because this morning I shared the official book cover, because I shared a book cover mock-up a couple of days ago and said, knowing me, because you know me, this won't be it, because I didn't want to take any images from Canva. I wanted to use my own images right throughout the book, so that it was purely my words and my photographs. So that I shared it on this morning on LinkedIn, and I was speaking to a really lovely lady who just has the most beautiful way of describing things. And lots of times when I've put images up, she's described them in the most wonderful way, and I think, you know, I wish I'd thought of that type of thing, but I'm not her, so that's not how my mind works. I'm so busy creating in other ways. So I asked her about looking at my book when I'd finished it, and maybe, you know, looking at the text and the way that I'd written it, and see whether there's any way of enhancing it with her wonderful words. And she's agreed to do it, you know. And she just said she loves, I inspire her to write like that. My images and my stories inspire her to respond. So it's a two-way thing. And when you see people going on their holidays and collecting, you know, that sometimes this time every piece is important, can I just reiterate? And they collect a little handful and they send it you in the post and say, I thought of you when I was on the beach, and here's my sea glass from this place, and I put it in a little jar and I label it. And people have dropped off, you know, they're coming up in their boot and they're in lockdown and put them on my doorstep and said, I've been collecting sea glass, this is for you. You know, it's amazing what something that you're in action. The journal has done that, and it's inspired the children's journal, which will be finished by the Jubilee probably, and then it's inspired the book, which I'm going to take my time over, because I think that's really important. And again, it'll contain lots of things that people haven't heard. And I think not just the fact that it's sea glass, it's actually a journey of actually being intentional.
Yeah.
But knowing yourself enough to know that this is your thing.
This is where you hang your hat now. This is the intent that you've set. And I understand it. I set this intent when I became the creative genius consultant, and I've stayed in my lane. I have not changed. I set this, and we have had disasters along the way. There have been disasters along the way in the last 2 or 3 years, for personal ones and business ones. It hasn't all been plain sailing, but my intent was to become the creative genius consultant that could help other creative women to know that they had the stuff in them to be intentional in their businesses and to take action. And I'm very lucky to have an amazing cohort of women in my creative mastermind at the moment. And we do another launch in July, and I'm bringing them in all the time. And it is a wonderful place full of wonderful creative women, all who did not know they had the ability, who are now doing amazing things. So setting intent changes people's lives. You creating your journal will change people's lives. Me creating mine and doing a little training on it has changed some people's lives already. So when we're intentional, we don't just bring something that makes money. We bring something that's important to us, that's important to the world, and we're changing the world one business at a time and one person at a time, one product at a time. and opening the door and the floodgates for so much more. Because when the belief system that has trapped you through life has dissolved, and you can enter the world that you want to be in with pure intentionality, it changes everything. And that's why I thought it would be great to discuss that with you tonight, because that's exactly what you've done in the last couple of years. You got anything you would like to say to the people watching tonight?
There's I think that we all know what we have inside us, and there's a fear of letting it out sometimes. And all my advice is to allow that child in you that was maybe put away in a cupboard sometimes, because I'm very compartmentalized, even in my, as well as decluttering in my head, and I put things away in cupboards. And allow yourself to express that and ignite your curiosity. Whatever you're curious about, let it flow, because you don't know where that's going to go. And that's the fun of it, is that, I mean, to actually remain in business, you have to remain curious.
Yeah.
And to keep going in the ebbs and flows. And it is ebbs and flows. It's not that I'm selling 20 necklaces a day. I'm not. But because in the ebb of that, I've created this journal. And then just straight after that, somebody came to my door and said, I've got a 50th birthday, my daughter's 50th birthday. What an honour that is. And she's going to come in and have a look at what you've got, because I want to choose something. And away she went with a necklace, you know. And that happened just after I'd had a conversation with you, and then somebody else has been in touch. So you do actually, and also be yourself. And I have to say, it is the first time I've been myself to actually go on live at 57 with a brand new business, really. And Alexa's talking to me, but I don't know why. In a brand new business. It does take courage, but when you know that you're in the right place, you will know. But you've got to take that first step and see where it takes you, because I tell you what, it can take you to the most wonderful place. And that's where I am. I'm in the most wonderful place I've ever been creatively. And I now know what it's like for people not to be able to go to sleep, because they've got so many ideas, and they've got, you know, when I work in flow. I never plan, I never draw what I'm going to make. So yeah, so just do it, because if you don't, you'll never know.
And thank you for that, because that is it. You don't know. You choose the not to do. You'll never know. We choose what the humans do, which is to choose to not to do it, and then you will never know. So choose to do it. Whatever it is, choose to do it, and know that you have the power already. You just need to remove a few layers that have been burdened upon you by society. And if that's where you need to start, that's where you need to seek the help. And that's what I would say to you. Know where you need help. And if you're saying, I so want to do this, but I can't get past my beliefs, work on your beliefs.
We're all a work in progress.
All of us, none of us are perfect.
No.
Far from it. Making mistakes every day, learning from them every day. That's the beauty of being in business. But you're right, you've got to stay interested, curious, and excited. That's about intentionality. So I hope this has been useful for everybody that stayed with us tonight. And if you're watching on replay and coming back to it, I know what it's like in the evenings, particularly if you've got sunshine where you are. You'll be off doing something else or watching someone else. Why would you be watching someone else? Watch me, because I've got some great stuff for you. So thank you for joining us again tonight. Rebecca, thank you for doing my little training on creating your own journal and creating your journal, because you brought
Thank you.
So I will see you all next Tuesday night, same place, same time, talking about something else. So have a wonderful week, folks, and enjoy whatever it is you're doing fully and intentionally. Bye for now.
Bye.